Dibble Show with Ben Darnell, live from Travelers Championship. Golf Lounge 18. Check out their 8 state-of-the-art locations on the web at Oxford, Connecticut.
Awesome.
So can't wait to go over there and check that out.
Who we had, unlike these other sports shows that tell you who to bet on, what the spread is, all their analysis, not the Rob Dibble Show. We go with our gut and we tell you what we think, and then on Monday we actually tell you if we were right or wrong in the segment we call Who We Had. Oh, Dibs, you were not there on Friday, so we had to do this with Mr. Adam Giardino to take your place, and I've got some bad news about that. But before we get to the bad news, how about some good news from Kurt Kaplan, as Kurt was the one that jinxed the Edmonton Oilers. He was the only one that said this thing is over, this is a sweep, no need to pay attention to the NHL after this. It was Giardino and myself that gave the Oilers a little bit of love, saying if anyone was going to do it, it was going to be on the hockey side to come back 3-0, and you can't come back 3-0 unless you win game number 4, and that's exactly what the Edmonton Oilers did. That was,
and it was a blowout.
Blowout. Cup in Florida. That's the only thing I can think of, because it was 2 completely different teams from what I noticed in game 1, 2, and 3. But we shall see if that trend continues in the NHL. However, the bad news is in the NBA, where we all said the Celtics were going to sweep.
Boo! You stink!
Now, when we all agree on
What's our record?
you got 12-7-1 now. We chalk up a loss.
That was Giardino?
It was Giardino, yeah.
I would have picked Celtics.
He kind of talked us into it, too. Kurt and I were leaning Dallas. We were giving Luka a chance, and it was Giardino who's throwing out all these stats and all this and that. And we were like, yeah, you know what? You're right. It's Adam's fault.
Wrong.
So true. But Kurt and Adam made up for it in the next pick, and we stick with hoops, Dibs. Really the only game, and I know I'm a different animal, but the only game I watched from start to finish was Liberty versus the Aces on Saturday. Listen, they had a perfect time slot. First of all, it's a championship repeat, okay, if anyone knows. Don't look at me like that. That's true. And then there was nothing on. There really wasn't on anything in the afternoon unless you wanted to watch the other guys play before some of the leaders in the U.S. Open. So, and I tune in, and I'm watching great basketball from the Aces. They had the lead until they didn't. Right around the third quarter, Jonquel Jones, Sabrina Ionescu, and Brianna Stewart said, enough's enough.
They have a pretty good team.
I think, yeah. They got this one girl named Beecher. She's an all-star. She's sealing off Kelsey Plum. Kelsey Plum had no answer. Honestly, made Kelsey Plum look small. I thought the Aces stunk. I picked the Aces. I thought that they were going to have some home cooking. They've lost 5 in a row now with this loss. I thought that enough is enough.
Break the team up.
Something's got to give. Kate Martin.
Maybe it was those $100,000 checks.
Maybe. Yeah, I was thinking that. Soft. They're getting
See, now
soft.
they were hardcore when you didn't pay them.
So true.
And they were fighting for scraps.
When
now
they
you're
were
starting
riding
to pay
the bus.
them. You're getting
Right.
charters everywhere. Hey, how about we give
They've
you each
gone
$100,000 from the tourism people, and now all of a sudden you drop 5 in a row.
Fan favorite, Kate Martin, the Caitlin Clark teammate of Iowa.
Yep.
She wasn't even supposed to be on this team. She is
making a
spark
difference
off the
Yep.
bench. She was hitting threes. She kind of got them back into it a little bit, but the libs were too much for the Aces. As Kurt said in his pick, give him liberty or give him death.
Wow.
And, sir, you got the liberty. No need to kill Kurt.
Is that Thomas Jefferson? Who said that?
Patrick Henry.
Patrick
Henry,
Henry.
thank you.
Thank you.
Stop being so smart, Kurt.
Kurt
Nobody
was
likes
right.
this smart Weisenheimer.
Usually I'm the one who knows my WNBA, but whenever we pick it on Friday, Kurt, who watches 0 WNBA, gets it right, and I overthink it and I get wrong.
We should do a segment with name 10 WNBA players and have Kurt try to name 10.
Or just like what happened in the WNBA quiz,
Oh
pop
my God,
quiz with
yeah,
Kurt
over the
Kaplan.
weekend.
If we give him multiple choice, he'll probably ace it just by guessing. Yankees Sox. I redeemed myself from my WNBA lack of knowledge.
Pick the Sox.
And I picked the Sox in Major League Baseball, unlike Kurt or Adam, who were feeling
No
the Yankees.
way Kurt picked against the Sox.
He wrote underneath his pick.
You should have to wear a Yankee shirt for a day.
Something.
You cannot go against your team.
And every time you do, Kurt, they always disappoint you, yet make you.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that.
Right. How does that
It's
work?
reverse psychology. He really wants the Sox to win, but
I'm happy to be wrong.
Right. He's
Right.
happy to be wrong. I agree with that.
So what up with the stolen bases?
Okay, first of all, Marcus Stroman was taken. You have to be 1.0 or 1.2 to home
He's
to
got
give
the
any
little
catcher.
hitchy thing
He was
when
doing
he
a high
sets
leg
up.
kick. He was doing the Dontrell Willis high leg kick, trying to be quick, but you can't be that quick. So it takes you probably 2 seconds to deliver the ball. Even if the catcher's coming up in like a 1-5 or a 1-6, he's still not gunning out good base runners. And so they ran the bases like crazy. They broke a record, I think, that was set back in like 1907 or something like that. They stole 9 bases against the Yankees, plus Trevino was back there, just a very slow, long throw. He's got to throw like a football quarterback, right from the ear, bang, bang, and they just weren't getting it done. So most stolen bases, I'm going to say 70 to 75% are on the pitcher. The other 25% are just either bad throws, the lack of accuracy, and really good base runners getting a good jump. I mean, sometimes they just get a great jump if they're good base runners. So, but to give up 9 stolen bases on Sunday Night Baseball is an absolute embarrassment. And so, yeah, people were going. Listen, my timeline on X has exploded. I tried to explain how we were taught in spring training. 1.0, 1.2 to home, you know. And it's not even the slide step. It's just delivering the ball as quickly as possible and giving the catcher a chance. And then, I guess Salvador Perez came out from Kansas City and said, well, now they want 75% framing pitches and about 15% worrying about the bit. That's insanity. That's insanity.
They're just giving you bases in Major
But
League
analytics
Baseball.
is destroying the game. My point was, listen, a lot of it was varying your times and throwing over to first a bunch of times to kind of wear guys out and see if they were going to steal. Given the bench, you could do pitch outs and stuff like that. Rob Manfred has ruined that aspect and strategy of holding runners on.
I don't know why people Ella De La Cruz should hit 100 this year. Like, I don't understand why there isn't a lot of people, or at least one person on every team that's going to be a 50 stolen base guy.
Did you see him steal 3 bases on 2 pitches?
Yeah.
That is one of the coolest things that I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of great baseball in my lifetime, but that kid being 6'7", it's Michael Jordan running the bases, people. That is not easy. And he's so fast. He's so deliberate in what he does. He gets great jumps. And then to have the catcher kind of messing around with the ball and then lob it back to the pitcher. Can you imagine? And this just happened to me in this tournament I was
Ella
just in.
De La Cruz, like, how I understand you do that when Vogelbach's on first, but like, it's the fastest guy in baseball.
First time that I've been coaching, like AAU or even high school, where someone stole home on me. And my catcher lobbed it back to the pitcher, and the dude stole home. I'll give him a shout-out. Munch Torres is his name.
What a name.
Yeah, so Munch Torres was the coach.
1880s.
And so, I got to give a shout-out to Munch and his boys. But,
hell yeah,
man, they embarrassed us on that play, just like Ellie De La Cruz. That is paying attention. That is baseball, what do you say, 400 level? That's baseball 400 level when a lot of guys would be just standing at third base.
All right, you were a part of the Who You Got, even though you weren't there, so it was one of the picks. We asked everyone, Dibble wins as you were down south, the deep south in Mystic, Connecticut, playing some baseball.
We're over there by the Beluga Whales.
Now, we asked you how many potential wins you could get, and you said if you win it all the way,
it'd be 5.
It'd be 5
yes.
games. And then we knew you were guaranteed 3. So that's
Yes.
what we're going off of on Friday.
But I was also coaching 2 teams. I was doing my 15U and my 16U when the times were available.
Little caveat, we did not know. However, it helps. It definitely helps in the who you got. I thought you were going to win it all. I said 5. I said this guy has got 3 guys that need birth certificate checks every time they walk into the dugout.
I do have a 6'5" 15-year-old that people are giving me the side eye.
I would too. He's taller than you in the team picture.
There's 2 guys taller than me in the team picture, and I'm 6'3.5".
Adam thought you would get to like out of the round robin, but then lose somehow in the finale of things.
Right.
He gave you 4 wins. Kurt had no faith, but said that you would get a couple of charity wins, so he gave you 2 wins.
There's no charity.
How many wins on the weekend?
I had 2.
2 wins. Kurt was right. Oh my
One
goodness.
with 15U, one with 16U.
Correct!
The second win with my 15U team on Friday night. Now, listen, I had to get out of work on Friday, go down there and coach a couple of games. The 15U was the second game, and driving rain for the last 2 innings. We were up it was like 11-3. We ended up barely winning that game 11-8, and a lot of it is based off of runs to where you finish to the Saturday and Sunday matchups.
This is aggregate? Is that what we call this, Ashmead?
Yes.
Like soccer?
Well, it's seeding because
scoring?
there's 21 teams in our 15U and 23 teams in the 16U bracket.
So we got to figure it out somehow.
Exactly. So they
Okay.
go by run differential, and so you want to score as many runs and give up as few runs as possible.
Right.
And so we were looking good going into Saturday. Then both teams lost Saturday, which put us in a 12 versus 13 predicament on Sunday. 16U falls, they're out.
Okay.
15U, we're facing the same team that we played a tough game on Saturday
Oh,
with.
man.
And they beat us, and so they moved on, and we didn't. We went home early, and it was tough though, man. It was for my 15U guys. The experience was huge because it was like Wrigley with the wind blowing in.
Cool.
Very tricky trying to catch pop-ups, and that cost us defensively. We kind of blew those games.
And you were shouting out before we started the show a team from Providence that was
Team
on
from
fire.
Providence, all Dominican players, fabulous kids, fabulously great coached kids. And the one thing that I know about Latino players, they can hit fastballs. They didn't miss many of our fastballs. They ripped the cover off them. So that's the thing. Our guys are learning, man. And here's the cool thing about it. These guys are going off their high school years, and it's a wood bat tournament.
Oh, cool.
So now you're putting like big league wood in their hands.
Is that the first time for your guys?
It's the first time for my 15U guys on a big field
That's
with the
cool.
wood. So it was a little bit tough and challenging, but they actually ripped the cover off of it. It was our defense that really cost us those 2 games.
We had one more pick, as we always do. We like to play a little PGA picks.
Who did you do? Anybody have DeChambeau? Wow.
It's my guy, man. I've been on.
DeChambeau.
I've been on him. Honestly,
You better tell me you put money on him.
I did. So did Ashmead. We're both winners
That'll wait,
walking
John.
into the tournament today.
So that makes your evening better, and it
So
makes
true.
today much better.
Especially when you lose a lot more money on Saturday and Sundays. That makes it.
There wasn't any big horse race this weekend.
I know. Why did I do that?
What were you betting on?
Stupid horses.
Okay. As long as it wasn't.
You do that!
As long as it wasn't WNBA games.
I was bored. I had my dad is way down in Florida, so I couldn't go golfing with my dad or anything. It's like I don't know.
You couldn't hook up with John Gallo and go golfing or
I'm
something?
sure he was playing in some members
Beautiful
only
weather
tournament.
this weekend, other
It
than that
was
little bit of
great.
rain Friday night.
Kurt went Canadian. Kurt's been going nothing but Canadian golfers all 2024, but he did not go with his friend Corey Collins.
Who'd he go with?
Went with Taylor Pendrith, who I think fell off the map on Saturday. I don't even know where he ended up. Kurt, did you even follow old Taylor Pendrith?
I think he's still out there. Got lost.
Poor guy. Adam Giardino went with Hideki Matsuyama. And
Hey,
the
where'd he
straight
finish?
ball. Not good. He was up there for a little while. He was top 25, I would say.
Here's
most of
the thing
Saturday.
about Adam. I bet he took that seriously. be picking things.
Him and Kurt wanted to. Well, Kurt always wants to know the rundown for the who you got because he.
Oh yeah, well
takes an hour.
he writes out a spreadsheet.
Right now, Adam's the same way. Adam wanted me to send him the rundown long before the show started.
He was doing research.
Yes, and
yes,
he felt a little bit lost because I didn't get him anything until about 2:45, about 15 minutes before showtime.
You did that on purpose.
I wanted to
you
think
know
on his
Adam
toes a little bit. Right,
you know
exactly.
Adam's anal. He needs to know every
he
stat
wants
on
to
every
write
guy.
Down everything he's going to talk
He's
about.
checking with Vegas to know the odds on all this stuff that he's about to talk about.
He doesn't want to give any false information whatsoever. No, but he did great on Friday. We were happy.
Unlike
to have
us,
him.
that we don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
I would have to say, despite my horsey play yesterday, I had a pretty good weekend.
There you go.
I had a really good weekend. I'm kind of sore about missing the WNBA pick, and I'm really sore about agreeing with Adam and Kurt on the Boston Celtics sweeping the Dallas
I'm
Mavericks.
going to have to take you. Next week's
Why they
tournament's
talked me
in New
into
York.
it.
Maybe I should take you with me. It'll save you some money. But
Yeah,
you'll love
so
it.
true.
Oh, my
Gosh,
God.
I wish I was coaching first base yesterday instead of worrying about who's going to
we'll
win
let you coach
horse
first.
races.
You'll love it.
Yeah.
You would have wanted to fight the umpires. The umpires are lousy. in
That's
these
what a
tournaments.
first base coach is all about. He's supposed to be the one that stirs the pot and then looks over at the third base coach to bail him out when the heat gets too hot.
The best part is when the umpires keep
Walk
telling me
away.
I don't know anything about baseball
Oh, that's so
because they don't
great.
know the Federation of Planet rules that they play by. So, yeah, that's the fun that I have.
I love too how like
You should learn the rule book. Dude.
but like the major league rule book and like it is right. What you know is
I know
right.
the 15U. I know the 16U.
They
But
change those rules
oh,
every year. With
they come up
15U,
with some
16U.
ridiculousness stuff that I'll give you one instance where this guy called. It was a close game. I think it's the 6th inning, and we're down a run or two. And their runner runs into our second baseman who's covering second. Now, the throw's coming from left field to the cutoff guy. The cutoff guy misses it, and so he calls obstruction. And I go out. I don't argue it. I'm just like, why would you make that call? He goes, well, the throw was going home. I go, first of all, you don't know when my guy cuts it where it's going, so how could you make that assumption? Well, I've been doing this 49 years. And, I assumed that the throw was going home because I said, listen, there was 2 outs. And if I had cut it, thrown it to second, and tagged the guy out before the guy scores, what happens? Well, you're out of the inning. And the run doesn't score? No. And so I just walked away from him. And I'm like, dude, don't ever assume my cutoff guy, who I've taught, our cutoff, our short, our second, our first baseman, to cut and go to a different base. That's I kind of teach these guys more like spring training, major league type stuff so that they'll be prepared for it at the high school or college level. So to have this guy, this 15U ump, be like, well, I assumed it was going home.
This is what I miss.
Yeah.
I'm
but
upset that I missed
here's the
this
thing.
part.
The best part is the parents are having a few cocktails.
Of course.
They see me argue, and now
they got your back.
They got my back.
They
They're
got
ready
your
to fight.
back.
I got cops out there. I got some biker guys out there. I got guys that want to fight like crazy.
Right.
So it's like I'm like, settle down. The fun that I get from the tournament is arguing with the umpires.
sure.
Don't take that fun away from me.
So let me teach you something. One thing I have learned from arguing with umpires, from watching major leaguers and doing it myself, at the end, the only thing you messed up at the very end before you walk away, you have to tell him that he's better than that. And that is
I got
what
thrown
sinks-
out for that.
Oh,
I got
no.
thrown 2 or 3 years ago at a tournament. I got thrown out for 2 things. I said, you're better than that.
That's classic.
And do your job.
Oh, the do your job one. That's
Somebody
How
caught,
far away
somebody
were
caught
you?
that on video, by the way.
How far away were you when you said this?
I was in
to
the
him?
dugout.
So everyone hears this.
Oh, absolutely. That's my point. You know my voice. So and right now it's really raspy because I lost it the last couple of days screaming at my kids. Not screaming for them, you know,
Right.
either
Oh,
run
yeah.
the bases or I know my wife's favorite thing about me is when I'm trying to score a run, one of my runners that might not be, like Ellie De La Cruz, not as fleet as Foot. I'm running down third with them, screaming at them. You gotta go! You gotta go! And I'm running all the way down to home with them. My wife loves that the most. That's where I lose my voice because I am screaming. And listen, 9 times out of 10 they do score.
That's great.
But
That's great.
listen, I live through them. I love them. It's so much fun, and it's painful when they lose.
I bet.
It's really
I bet.
painful when they lose. because I feel like I've lost. I feel like I failed
You
them.
failed them.
I failed them.
Totally failed them.
God, I hate umps.
So I know we're going to get into this a little bit. We might get a visit from Nathan Grube here.
We're gonna,
at
4:30. He's coming.
Pat Hoberg, the name in the news when it comes to the sport of baseball and the fun time of gambling. Apparently, he has been caught gambling, but not on baseball. And Major League Baseball has kind of been a little hazy on the situation. But this happened over the weekend. It's kind of a last-second story dump on a Friday afternoon.
Didn't catch it.
Perfect. No one else did. But this is going to be a problem. I think Major League Baseball has got a little problem here.
Well, when you have live betting on sports, and you're about to give up 16 networks to FanDuel so that they can run the network. How many ads for FanDuel are they going to run per day in game? Every stadium's going to be having right behind home plate. Besides the casinos that they've been running for 20 years, but they're going now it's DraftKings, sponsored by DraftKings, sponsored by FanDuel. Listen, it just kind of it invites you to want to go gamble. Now, I have no problem with it. The problem is the people that should know the rules that you can't gamble on said games and stay in that game. You're going to lose your job or even get suspended for a lifetime. If you're a baseball player, basketball player, or we're seeing football players, they're all getting suspended because they don't realize. Don't bet on your own game. Go bet on somebody else's game.
He hasn't yet.
Right.
Or there hasn't been information that he's been betting on Major League Baseball. Plus, the other part of this story is that he's really good. Like, when you look at his balls and strikes, and that's where everybody gets thrown out of games now, he is, like, one of the best at calling balls and strikes in Major League Baseball. So, good ump, no evidence on baseball gambling, but then the third thing that creeps in is the thing that you've taught me over the years is it's not just about gambling. It's about being with known gamblers and fraternizing with mafia or fraternizing with bookies that's not
well, because
legal.
if you're making legal bets, what's to stop you from making illegal
I mean,
bets?
think about blackjack versus betting on the NBA as a Major League Baseball ump. Honestly, I don't see difference in either one. I feel like they're both gambling and they're both not baseball and not affecting anything on the field.
No, I don't have a problem with it, really. I mean, honestly, as long as you're not, like, going out there trying to recoup a loss over the weekend. Like, I bet $100,000 this weekend.
Brought up, right.
And so, this week I need to make up for that. So I'm going to call some games and I'm going to questionably make some questionable calls so that it favors me in winning this bet. You have to have the perception of fairness for the fan. If you think these games are compromised, all bets are off. Not trying to be a pun here,
right?
But nobody's going to want to watch your sport.
All bets would be off.
That's
actually.
right, exactly.
It
so
legitimately,
because we don't think that this
board.
stuff's on the up and up. It's like with boxing. We've felt like boxing's been fixed for 100 years, and so it's hurt the sport and the integrity of the sport. But for the most part, I mean, a lot of those are decided inside the ring, and it's the ones that they can look at now and go back and go, yeah, that guy took a dive.
I remember when tennis, and especially in the Turkey circuit, yes, the Turkey circuit, not the USTA, not where you see most of your pros play, but the Turkey circuit had a problem with fixed matches. And you don't hear about it anymore because it got shut down. Once it got snuffed, okay, this is fixed. This isn't on the up and up. There's no way I should be even betting on this. And then things changed real quick because as much as you're saying DraftKings, that's sponsorship, man. That's real money. That's attention on the sport. If all of a sudden I find out that this is fixed, I'm not going to pay as much attention as I used to.
I spy a tournament director
right
now.
Here.
So Nathan Grube, the tournament director here from the Travelers Championship, he's grabbing a bite to eat. He will join us next segment here on the Rob Dibble Show, live from TPC River Highlands, along with Ben Darnell on Fox Sports Radio.